In 1870, a 31-year-old man in Cleveland, Ohio, controlled just 4% of America's oil refining capacity. 10 years later, he controlled 90%. By 1904, he controlled 91% of oil production, 85% of final sales, and had created the template for every modern monopoly. His name was John D. Rockefeller. The system he built, the corporate structures he invented, and the monopolistic tactics he perfected, did not die when Standard Oil was broken up in 1911. They evolved, they spread, and in 2025, they shape nearly every aspect of your life. The gasoline you pump, the drugs you buy, the tech platforms you use, the food you eat, the banks you borrow from. Every one of these industries uses the Rockefeller playbook. Vertical integration, horizontal consolidation, regulatory capture, tax-exempt foundations that shape policy, market dominance so complete that competition becomes impossible. Rockefeller didn't just build an oil empire. He built the architecture of modern corporate control. And you can't escape it, because the system isn't Standard Oil. The system is the method. That method has been replicated by every dominant corporation for over 150 years. Amazon uses it. Google uses it. Pfizer uses it. JP Morgan uses it. They all learned from the same blueprint. Control the supply chain vertically. Eliminate competitors horizontally. Capture the regulators. Use philanthropy to buy legitimacy. And when the government finally breaks you up, make sure the pieces are worth more than the whole. To understand how this system works and why it still governs your life, you have to start with Rockefeller himself. John D. Rockefeller was born in 1839 in Richford, New York. His father was a con man who sold fake cancer cures. His mother was a deeply religious Baptist. That combination, ruthlessness paired with moral certainty, defined Rockefeller's entire approach to business. He destroyed competitors without mercy while believing God had chosen him to organize industry for the good of humanity. This wasn't hypocrisy. It was genuine conviction. Rockefeller believed monopoly was moral because it replaced chaos with order and inefficiency with discipline. When oil was discovered in Pennsylvania in 1859, most people rushed into drilling. Rockefeller saw something different. Drilling was volatile and dependent on luck. Refining was stable, predictable, and essential. That's where the real power was. In 1863, Rockefeller invested in his first refinery. Within 2 years, it was the largest in Cleveland. But Cleveland had dozens of refineries, all barely surviving. Instead of competing on price, Rockefeller chose something far more effective. He eliminated competition entirely. He pioneered vertical integration, controlling every step of production. He bought barrel factories, tank cars, storage facilities, rail access, and distribution networks. Every profit center that once belonged to someone else became part of his company. This gave him massive cost advantages. He could sell kerosene below competitors' costs while still making money. The goal wasn't efficiency alone. It was domination. Next came horizontal integration. Rockefeller offered to buy competitors at fair prices. If they refused, he launched price wars they couldn't survive. They sold, or they went bankrupt. By the end of 1872, Rockefeller controlled nearly every refinery in Cleveland. He repeated the strategy nationwide. By 1879, Standard Oil controlled 90% of America's refining capacity. That wasn't a business. It was a monopoly. Rockefeller understood monopolies faced two problems. They were illegal and they were hated. His solution was revolutionary: the trust. In 1882, Rockefeller's lawyers created the Standard Oil Trust, a holding structure that controlled dozens of companies across state lines. This wasn't just a workaround. It was the birth of the modern corporate parent-subsidiary model. Every major corporation today descends from this idea. By the early 1900s, Rockefeller was the richest man in the world. At his peak, his inflation-adjusted wealth would exceed $400 billion, more than Bezos, Musk, and Gates combined. Then came backlash. Journalist Ida Tarbell exposed Standard Oil's tactics. Public outrage grew. In 1911, the Supreme Court ordered Standard Oil broken into 34 companies. It should have ended Rockefeller's empire. Instead, it made him richer. Rockefeller retained shares in every company. Their combined value exploded. Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, BP, all descendants of Standard Oil, eventually merged back into dominant players. The monopoly wasn't destroyed. It was reorganized. But Rockefeller's most enduring legacy wasn't oil. It was the system itself. Today, Amazon uses vertical integration exactly as Rockefeller did. Warehouses, logistics, cloud infrastructure, retail, and data all under one roof. Google operates as a holding company. Banks use complex corporate structures that make regulation nearly impossible. Pharmaceutical companies shape the regulations that govern them. And then there's philanthropy, Rockefeller's final innovation. By creating massive tax-exempt foundations, Rockefeller avoided estate taxes, shaped education and medicine, and transformed his public image. The Rockefeller Foundation helped define modern medical education and research priorities. Modern billionaires follow the same model. These foundations aren't just charity. They're tools for influence, legitimacy, and control. The result is a system that is efficient, stable, and incredibly productive, but also deeply unequal. It delivers cheap goods and convenience while concentrating wealth at the very top. You live inside this system. You don't choose between competitors. You choose between branches of the same tree. Every path leads back to consolidated corporate power. Rockefeller understood something most people still resist. The system isn't evil. It's effective. Consolidation reduces costs. Integration eliminates inefficiency. Monopoly is the natural endpoint of unchecked markets. And once you see it everywhere. You can accept it, you can resist it, or you can understand it and position yourself within it. But you can't escape it. John D. Rockefeller didn't just build a company. He built a system that outlived him by more than a century. A system embedded in corporate law, tax codes, and regulatory structures. Standard Oil is gone. The Rockefeller system is not. And you live in it every single day.